Adam, so how's the start of the year been?
It's been good, actually. Thanks, yeah. It's been good. It's nice now that the sun's come out.
Yes, yeah. I did my first outdoor gig last weekend. I was like, this is nice. This is nice. Just a little pub garden. I was like, yeah.
Fantastic.
It's
Pub
nice.
gigs are the best gigs.
They can be. I mean, you can get them when you're playing to one man and his dog. You can get them where you've got a packed room. And I can't remember, it was a friend of mine just said that I don't really care where I play, just as long as I'm playing to somebody or people who want to listen to live music. I don't care where it is.
Yeah, sure.
So the country just feels like a different country as soon as the sun comes up.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
It was the start of your year. What's been going on?
Well, work-wise, guitar-wise, I'm presuming.
Yeah.
Well, I always feel very lucky if so I've got a show. I play guitar in the orchestra for Starlight Express. So I feel whenever I do have a show, I've had a few over the past sort of 20 years or so, I feel very lucky to have one in January because a lot of the time, as all musicians know, January is not the busiest time of the year.
No,
and the weather's crap, and then you get a tax bill.
Yeah.
So thanks very much for all of that. So, it's good, and I've had a couple of films as well, I think they're both for Amazon, actually. Different companies, but both for Amazon. Yeah. One's for Disney through Amazon, and one's for, I don't know who the production company is, but for the composer is Alan Silvestri. So that's
nice. So he's one of those composers. I didn't realise not only that he did Back to the Future, but he did Jaws 3 as well.
Done everything. Did he do? I didn't know that either.
Yeah, right. I'm a bit of a Jaws nerd, and every now and again I'll stick on one of the sequels. Like, is it as bad as I remember? And yes, they are. But Jaws, he did the music for Jaws 3.
Right. Oh, I didn't realise that. Okay.
Yeah, and I also didn't realise that John Williams did the music for Jaws 2 as well.
I thought that John Williams did the music for all of them, but I didn't.
Yeah. Oh, they obviously leaned heavily on his theme, but yeah, he did Jaws 2
I would
as well.
imagine so.
But anyway, yeah. So yeah, that's cool. So yeah, working in the studios. How's working for films? I mean, how's that? How is that? I mean, because I've done a few shows over the last year, pit shows. So how does that differ from doing sort of the studio film and TV work?
It's pretty much totally different.
Right.
I mean, I think it depends on the film, to be honest. And the large part of it, actually, the biggest thing that it depends on, from my perspective, is the lineup. Yeah. So I'll contrast those two films that I've done over the past sort of couple of months. So the first one, I don't always know the names of them because sometimes they're working titles. But this one, the first one it's got Eddie Murphy in it. It's like a big deal for Amazon. The composer's an American chap called Chris Lennox. It's really nice bloke, actually showed me some cool stuff on guitar, actually, funnily enough.
Nice.
But anyway, so the point being is that it was in a smaller studio and it was just rhythm section. Mm-hmm. So that means you've got time to experiment a little bit and you can say, oh, what do you think about this sound? Do you like this guitar? Like, well, what about my delay? Do you like my true bypass pedal? Yeah. All that kind of stuff. Like all the stuff which you think you might be able to do.
Yeah.
That can happen. It's in a way, I mean, it's still a lot of pressure because the people that employ you for that kind of work, it's a very small, it's like 2 or 3 people really.
Yeah.
That do that kind of, the kind of top end sort of films and things. But
yeah.
So that is one type of pressure. But so I contrast that with the other film where we had a full big band, a full orchestra, and a rhythm section all in the studio, and we're rattling through the cues. And things happen like, okay, you've got some chords for 16 bars. It's like, right, you need to play some fills in there, right? And you don't know what it's at. You've never heard it before, right? So you go, okay, so where shall I play the fills? Just play them where other people aren't playing anything. Okay, go. So, and if you've never heard it before, it's really difficult. So maybe you get to listen to it once and you have to madly scribble down, okay, I've got a gap there. What's happening? You have to really take in all that information really quickly. And then they press record again, and that's your take.
Wow.
So when there's a lot of people around, you don't generally get any time because you can't say, hang on a minute, I think I'm going to alter the K on my GE7, because this particular model is, there's not time for any of that stuff because there's like 200 other musicians in the room, maybe not 200, but a lot of other musicians, and it costs a lot of money to have a studio running, It costs hundreds of thousands of pounds to have everything running and have everyone there all the time. So you can't do that. So you've just got to do it, and you have to conjure up your best work on something you've never heard before immediately, and then be okay with it being on the TV.
Wow.
It's like, yeah, so it's pretty. So it's nothing like doing a West End show. The glory of a West End show is if you make a mistake, you get to do it all again tomorrow, and no one's recording it. So, but I do like. I always feel like I think the generation above me, not everybody, but a lot of them were less keen on doing West End shows because there were more sessions around. It was kind of looked down on a little bit, but I've always liked having one because there's a slightly spectrumy part of me which likes having the routine.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I like going, I'm going to work. I've got a job like a normal person. And on Friday, they give me money. I don't even think there's apart from the playing of guitar. Yeah. I don't think there's that much comparison in my experience. Apart from the fact that you know, playing.
Is there any you prefer over the other? If you had to pick one, you're only going to do TV and films or you're going to do West Ends?
Nice choice to have. No, there isn't. I mean, the thing that the West End has to commend it is the regularity of employment. Most of the things that the West End has to commend it, in my view, are not musical.
Right.
You know, I'm not that. I would sort of be slightly diplomatic. Most West End shows are not what I would choose to listen to.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But I do like the people, and I like the regularity, and I like the routine, and it's you know, actually the show that I've got, it's nice guitar parts, lots of sort of rock lead stuff. It's kind of fun to play.
Where's
do
that
I
playing?
Listen to West End shows? Interestingly, it's in Wembley, which is not far from me. It's only about a 10-minute drive from me. It's technically not actually a West End show, but you know, it's a show which is in London. Yeah, open ended.
Fuck it, we're calling it a West End show.
Call it a West End show. You may as well. West of London.
West of London.
West of London show. So it is. It used to be called Fountain TV Studios, where I've done loads of TV shows and stuff over there over the years, but they've converted it into a theatre, and now it's called the Troubadour Theatre. It's next to the arena.
Oh right, okay, that's nice.
So yeah, it's kind of custom for that because I don't know if you know anything about Starlight Express, but it's roller skate based.
That's all I knew, that it was roller skates.
That's all you need to know. and so it's like a custom track.
Okay.
It's like the inside of the theatre is like a custom thing where they skate around. If you can imagine such a thing.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And how did you get into West End shows?
Total accident.
Okay.
I didn't. Absolute accident. As with everything else I've ever done, it's a complete accident. So I was about 22 or something. So for context, I'm 47 now. I'll be 48 in a couple of weeks. I had just left NIJO, which is the National Youth Jazz Orchestra.
Right,
Yeah, I was about 22. And I was just doing the odd function. I didn't really know what to do with myself, you know. Yeah. The only thing I'd done, actually, weirdly, was Pop Idol. We'd done this because NIJO basically got asked to provide a young big band. NIJO, for anyone who doesn't know, is the National Youth Jazz Orchestra.
Yeah, okay.
They stretch the definition of youth a bit. You know, people in their 20s still do it. So I'd just done the Pop Idol tour, the first Pop Idol with Will Young and Gareth Gates, which was a big band, you know. So I'd just done that. I didn't have anything to do. And this guy phoned me, and the guy's name was Maurice Cambridge, right? Morris, for anyone who doesn't know, Morris is a West End fixer. He fixed, I think he fixes Mamma Mia, and what else does he fix? Maybe Wicked.
Okay.
Couple of big shows, bits and pieces. Anyway, so he phoned me up. I'd never heard of him. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't have a career plan. It's not like everyone in their 20s these days seems to have this like business strategy for career. Yeah. I was just like, I didn't even fucking think about it. Can I swear? Is that bad?
Yeah.
Is swearing bad? Oh, fine.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
So, okay, just check. I do have a bit potty mouth sometimes. So
yeah, that's fine.
I won't edit myself. But anyway, so I had absolutely no plan whatsoever. I'd done a degree in classical music, which is, you know, of limited use.
Yeah.
And he phoned me up. Because he got my number. I don't know where he got my number from, actually, in retrospect. I've got no idea. He said, I won't do an impression. It would be unkind. Okay. He said, Adam, it's Maurice Cambridge here. I've got do you want to come to Edinburgh Fringe Festival for £300 a week, right? So this was 2000, 2001, something like that. No, probably 2000. Over the summer, and playing this show called Jerry Springer the Opera, right? Which I don't know if you even remember.
I do remember that. Yeah.
So it went on to do quite well. It was at the National Theatre for a year, and then maybe a year and a half at the Seven Dials at Cambridge Theatre.
Yeah.
So it actually did quite well. But So it was a complete accident. He phoned me up and he said, I remember he said, it's Morris Cambridge here. And I said, who? Because I didn't know anything about West End. I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
What do you want? What do you want? And he wasn't very happy that I'd never heard of him. I remember.
Right.
I just didn't consider that West End shows were even a thing, really. I never thought about it. Anyway, but the supervisor on that West End show was a guy called Martin Koch. Now, Martin is one of the nicest people I've met in the music business till today, and also one of the most talented. He did Mamma Mia and, quite a lot of other, TV shows and bits and pieces over the years. And I'm not sure what he does these days. I haven't seen him in a while. He lives very nicely in France, I think.
Lovely.
So he was a beautiful guy, and he took a shine to me, and the rhythm section that he was using at the time was Steve Pearce and Ralph Salmons. So I got to play with them on some sessions, which was when I was quite young. And they were nice to me in retrospect. They used to take the piss, but in a kind of nice way. So that was how I got started. I did Jerry Springer, and then Morris fixed me for Billy Elliot. I did the first year on Billy Elliot. And then after that, he immediately fixed me for Wicked. So I did the first year on Wicked as well. So I moved from show to show for about 5-6 years, and then here we are.
Here we are. Okay. Do you have a favourite?
Here we are. That's a good question. Well, they're all different. Musically, I think that I did The Drifter's Girl a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I sat in with Dan on that last year, 18 months ago. Dan Booth.
Oh, on the tour. Okay. Yeah. It was so good because we were on stage. It was a band. Yeah. And it was my friends in the rhythm section, Neil Wilkinson on drums, Phil Mulford on bass, a great horn section, and Beverly Knight was the singer. So it was like doing a Beverly Knight gig every week. So it was so good. And no one really told us what to do. We just played what we thought was good because we were trusted. Again, the supervisor's a really beautiful guy, Chris Egan, I've worked for quite a lot. He's a lovely bloke, and he employs you because he just trusts. He goes, "No, I like what you play. Can you just play?" And it's like, "Yeah, all right," and it worked. So we just sort of did a nice gig every night. That was lovely, and that was also my first proper gig coming out of COVID. Like we did a couple of weeks in Newcastle at the start.
That was that was a fun 18 months of not working and just I don't know about you. I just said yes to the first thing that came through my door. Like, yes, I'll do it. It's a wedding in Manchester. Fuck it, I'll do it.
100%. Yeah. Just wanted to feel like a useful musician.
Yeah. But it was kind of. I kind of used that time. I think I started doing YouTube videos, which were like massively unsuccessful. But I was like, I've got to do something other than homeschooling my kids and trying not to go insane. So and I think I had a couple of little sessions that came through as well, which was nice. But that was weird. Like coming back as well, I was flat out busy. It was fucking crazy.
It was busy, wasn't it? It was weird.
It was
really busy.
It was so busy that like 18 months later, I was phoning up agents going, "What's happened to all the work?" Like, well, we've got through it all. I was like, "Oh, so what are we doing now?" It's like, well, now we're just going back to normal. I was like, "Oh,
normal,"
because I was enjoying 5 days a week.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
No.
So you mentioned that you had a degree in classical music, which I didn't know.
That's it.
That was it. So I'm really interested, like, because I went to college in the early 2000s. I went to the ACM.
How old are you? You're younger than me, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm 44.
Right.
I did 2002, 2003 at the ACM, which I really liked. And I went back there about a year ago for a little walk around. One of the tutors took me around, and the fucking place is falling apart. And I was asking about the courses, and they were like, "Oh, no, we don't do that anymore." Okay, well, where's like reading and theory? It's like, "Oh, we don't do that anymore." Okay, well, where's the technical development? We don't do that anymore. I said, "So what do you do?" And it's like, it's totally changed. And I'm like, well, what is the fucking
What do they do then? What's it been replaced by?
There's, from what I can remember, they learn a song. They then have to perform the song, which we had to do. There's lots. They have to do some multi-instrument lessons. So they'll have to do, if they're a guitar player, they have to go and they have to learn a bit of keyboards, maybe some vocals. So
that's good.
That's good. And there's a lot of essay writing. There's a lot of English writing. It's because it's all now been linked with universities or colleges. There's a certain amount of academic studies that they have to do.
Right.
But from what I could glean from it, there's a lot of, how to do social media, how to do a business plan, how to set your career up. I was like, well, so is anybody sitting you down going, right, here's G major in 7 positions, do it in 16th notes to a click. It's like, not really. I was like, okay. What the fuck? So I don't really have a question. It's like, what's your take on education, on thoughts, or colleges or universities? I mean,
it's a big subject, isn't it?
And we've only got about 40 minutes left.
Yeah, I could probably talk about this for another couple of hours. I thought about it a lot. I've done quite a bit of teaching over the years. So, I know what you mean. I think there's a certain breed of sort of pop music college which they've become businesses. And if you can spell the word guitar and you have £9,000 a year, they'll let you in.
Yeah. So I spoke to Stuart Ryan, and he said that he left BIM because they were just letting anyone in. Like, the entrance was, can you play an E chord? Yep, in you come. It's like, well, fuck. I wasn't allowed to do the degree because my sight reading wasn't good enough. And I was like, well, that's fair enough. And now they're like, no, that's not even an issue.
No.
If you want to go and do a degree, give us the money, you have a degree.
Yeah, I struggle with it a little bit, to be honest, because I think there's, so I went to Birmingham Conservatoire and did a classical music degree. And then I went to the Royal Academy and I did a jazz postgrad. Just because I didn't really know any better. I didn't know what I was doing, and I knew Birmingham because my grandparents lived there. That was it. And I knew the city, and I thought, and I quite fancied the sort of university aspect of it, In retrospect, was it the best move in the world? I don't know. I wouldn't, it's fine. My real university was Nijo, to be honest. That was where I met and learned stuff. But that being said, there was a lot to commend having a classical music education. So you can, I can write a Bach chorale. I can, sort of, for what it's worth, vaguely analyze an orchestral score, which means I can analyze a big band score, which means I know a little bit about theory, all that kind of stuff. My classical guitar playing's just rubbish, but I can communicate with other musicians. I think there's a fairly cynical... Okay, so actually, before I say that, it would be nice to have a cross between something like that, which is proper music education, and the pop music college model, where they're aware of modern music and the facilities are good, and there's stuff that's relevant for somebody who wants to make a living in not jazz or classical, right?
Yeah.
It would be nice to find a middle ground. Yeah, but I guess that's my point. It would be nice to see the best bits of both. I find that there is a deeply cynical element of music education at the moment, which is taking money off young people the people who are taking the money know full well that they will never make a living out of music.
Yeah.
That being said, they are on paper adults, so they feel free to hand over £9,000 a year. I question whether 90% plus of those people are going to do anything in music, and I think they've sometimes been taken advantage of. To be honest, is my take on it. So there's some. Having said that, there is also the idea that I think that music education is a fine thing, but basically you have to just practice on your own. You just have to do your own thing. I don't feel that my classical music degree really had any bearing on my career now. But that being said, it didn't matter because I didn't pay for my course because it was free when I went there. So if I'd have paid £9,000 a year for it and spent however many years paying off a student loan or whatever, I'd probably feel different.
Yeah. I feel that there was, when I was there 2002, 2003, I thought there was a nice balance between that pop element. We had to learn a lot of pop stuff, and we had some people who are trying to make it as artists come in, and you do auditions for them, and you'd have to sit in front of a panel of people to play in front of. So you got that kind of almost that experience, but then you'd also have a fucking sight reading lesson with Pete Callard, who'd be like, right, read bars 7 to 9. No, do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again.
Great.
Do it again. No, that's shit. Do it again. And you'd be like, fucking hell. All right. And then you got to do some scale exercises with Guthrie. He was like, no, do it again. Do it again.
Was he teaching there? Did he teach you?
I had him for the last year. Yeah. Fucking
man,
amazing.
That guy's insane. He just makes me want to give up. That guy.
I know.
I can't just look at it and go, I can't play the guitar at all.
Yeah. But
him and Brent Mason, man,
Yeah, it just
anyway.
stunning.
Sorry,
but you had this kind of this, like you said, I felt like I got the best of both worlds. And when I've come out and I start teaching, I still have that same attitude. Like, you're still not playing G to C properly. Here's a click. Fucking just keep playing it until you can do it.
Yeah, I find it. I think also we sort of touched on this subject before you press the record button, but social media as well. I think that it seems to give this idea. It's this sort of almost X Factor mentality that you can get all these rewards just by telling everyone that you're brilliant. You know, like I've seen lots of students who write session musician in their bio, and it's like, what's going on there?
That was one of the questions I was going to ask you about, which we can touch on that later or in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a free world, you know, but it just seems to like it's that sort of X Factor kind of mentality is like that sort of overnight success without actually doing any work.
Yeah,
maybe I'm just a moaning old git. That could be the truth, you know.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, but I think there's some. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure the whole session musician thing. Every time I speak to people that I don't really know, and they say, "What do you do?" and I say, "I'm a musician." And if they're of a certain generation, if they're like 50 plus, they'll go session musician. Yeah. I was like, well, yeah. I do some sessions. I don't do a lot.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I still have. But I teach. I do functions. I do some pit work. I've got to do as many different things as I can.
Yeah, me too.
The idea of a human being, unless they're a classical musician, string orchestra or something like that, there isn't enough work to sustain one person throughout a year just doing sessions. No. I wish there was, but yeah.
Yeah.
So I just say musician, but yeah, it's...
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I mean, then again, does it matter? You know, kind of language evolves, doesn't it? So yeah. I think of myself as a freelance musician. For some reason, I end up talking about this quite a lot, but it's just semantics, isn't it? Maybe it doesn't matter if someone wants to call themselves a session musician. Great, have a good time. Yeah. Does it actually matter? Does it affect anyone else? Probably not. You know,
no.
It is. You know, it's just semantics. But I don't think it really, in the true sense of the subject, the phrase, word, whatever. I don't think it really exists anymore.
Yeah, which is a shame because they're kind of fun to do, but.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice getting a call saying, "Could you put this down on my song? Could you put this?" Like, oh yeah, that'd be really 100%.
Cool. Yeah.
But it's just not really there anymore. I mean, I suppose it's good because now, if you're a songwriter, it now doesn't cost you $1,000 to have a band to come in and play your songs. You can get most of it down just using a little MIDI keyboard and a laptop. So
yeah, absolutely.
The production of music has now become so much easier for creatives, which is great. I'm going to talk about lessons. I know you said you taught a lot. Have you ever have lessons? You still have lessons?
I'm doing a course. I'm a student at the moment.
Okay.
So I'm a student on the online course at Berkeley. I'm doing the jazz course at Berkeley.
How's that? Every now and again, I look at it and I go, should I do that?
I love it. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Can I ask how expensive it was?
You can, yeah. It's $1,200 for 12 weeks.
All right, okay.
Is that expensive? It's not that bad.
That's not.
I think it's a lot of content.
What's the exchange rate?
Well, I guess that's just under £100 a week, isn't it?
100.
No, it's one lesson. No, so it's a course. It's not just a one lesson.
Oh, yeah,
so it's about £1,000 for 12 weeks.
Yeah, but if you were to have 12 lessons with a teacher, and they're probably going to charge you 50 to 70 quid per hour, and you had 12 lessons, that's not far off, is it?
It's not that far off, and you get a lot of information.
Okay.
There's a lot of information. I'd say it's good. Yeah, I'm absolutely loving being a student. It's the highlight of my week because what I wanted to do, because I wanted to get certain aspects of my jazz playing together. I'm not a jazz musician at all, but it would be difficult for me. I'd feel weird going for lessons in this country with most people because it would be like, well, why don't you know this really basic thing? And then I'd be embarrassed. You know what I mean? It's like, why are you shit at this? You're supposed to be good. You do this for a living.
Adam, and I'd be going, you're a West End player. Why don't you know a 2-5-1 line?
You know what I mean? It's like, I would have struggled with it. Whether the teacher would have struggled with it, I don't know. But I would have just felt a bit weird about it. So I wanted to do it completely anonymously. Yeah. So the guy who runs the course is great guitar player. He's ridiculous voicings, and every time I send in my homework, he I can hear him. He sends me audio feedback, and he just plays my solo back at me straight away. I'm like, oh my god, I couldn't do that. So, but anyway, I wanted the anonymity of doing something.
Yeah.
I wanted just to be like another student. I haven't told him that I play guitar for a living. I've told him nothing about me.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm enjoying it. I feel free to make mistakes without worrying about
your reputation being tarnished.
Well, in a way, yeah. Like, it's like, I thought you were supposed to be good, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's. You know. I mean, I get that. But what kind of stuff are you working through?
I started on the very basic course.
Yeah.
Started on the jazz 101, which is super basic.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to go through everything, and I'm just about to finish that, and I'll start the advanced. I'm going to do another one. I'm going to do the advanced one after that.
Okay.
So it's just really sort of quite, almost like the first year of the Guildhall Jazz course, basically.
Yeah.
So you run through, basic bebop language, enclosures, standards, arpeggios, the bebop scale, altered chords. Like a lot of it, admittedly, I do actually know, but there's a couple of times that I've gone, okay, that's good. Just forcing you to do little bebop exercises around autumn leaves, things like that. Super simple stuff. But I wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing anything, and I wanted a structured course. Like the way I learn, I need somebody going, do that or you get bollocked.
Yeah.
I can't have somebody going, oh, that's good. That'll do. I can't have that. I need to be like told what to do, otherwise I won't do it.
Yeah.
So every week I get my homework and I do it and I hand it in over the internet and I get a grade. So and I love it. I think it's fantastic. And the way they've structured the interface, the online interface, is really good. And obviously Berkeley have the history of jazz education, so they've got all that behind it. So it's the real thing, So I'm really loving every second of it. It's the highlight of my week.
That's cool.
Some new thing.
Yeah. What's the tutor's name?
His name is Bruce Saunders. Don't know. Right. Oh, yeah, I did that. I took over from Pete Callard for that for about a year. It's a great show.
Not only is it a great show, but it was a fucking hard read, and I was just going through it like bar by bar, like this. Kicking the shit out of me. And then I got a call to do Grease, and that turned. I was like, okay, I could do that. That's quite easy.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, and every show that I get, just sort of reading through it, it's like, it's that I don't know how to do that, so I'm just gonna drill it until I can do it.
Yeah.
And like 9 times out of 10, it's just stuff that you can already play, but you're now having to do it with the dots in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a weird kind of like, it's quicker if I hear it and then play it on the guitar, and then that I can learn it that way. But yeah, trying to force yourself, no, don't listen to it, play what's on the pad. And now when you think you got it, have a listen.
I remember Legally Blonde is well written for guitar, though. You look at it, I remember looking at the first page going, God, it's going to take me forever to learn this.
Yeah.
But it's actually quite well written, a lot of the voicings. There's a lot of those sort of closed, sort of sus2 voicings.
Yeah.
They're very well written for guitar.
So I spoke to John Gregson about this, and he said that...
I love John. He's hilarious.
When you did this, there was 2 guitars. Was it two guitar chairs? No? Okay. But he said that it was originally written with 2 guitar chairs, and then it's been compacted.
Maybe it was in Broadway. Yeah, it might have been in Broadway, but by the time it reached the cheapskates in the West End, it was only 1.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it was. It was super fun to play. I actually took my daughter to it. She did a sit-in, and as soon as like they opened up with the first tune, it's like her fucking eyes would come up. I was like, I'm really glad that she brought this, because she could just about see the stage from where she was sat. But yeah, it's cool. But yeah, no, I love learning new stuff. And I regularly take lessons from lots of different people just to make sure that I'm fully rounded musician. Yeah,
it's interesting. I was thinking about this kind of thing, and at what stage do you go, well, that'll do? I don't think you ever get to that stage, but like I don't know about you, but I think I have this in common with a lot of musicians. But basically, I wake up every morning at like -3 on the scale of how good I feel, right?
Yeah.
I don't mean physically. I mean, it's like, so I have to go through this process. It's mostly driven by fear and anxiety. Like, I have to go through this process of, like, am I working enough? It sounds unhealthy, but it has results. Like, have I done enough practice? Have I done some exercise? Have I made some money? Like, all this stuff I have to go. It's like a bit of a battle, like going through every day, in order to like get to the end of the day going, yeah, that was relatively successful. Like, I find it difficult to live with myself if I just go, I'm just going to sit around. Yeah. I love the idea of just watching TV and not doing anything. I love that idea, but I won't enjoy it because I'll have this feeling of not being good enough. It sounds really unhealthy now I'm saying it out loud, but that's what drives all the learning.
Yes. So if I do, unless I'm sat down, if it's like if the kids have gone to bed, it's me and my wife. If I'm sat there watching TV, I have a guitar. Like most of my stuff's in my studio now, but I still leave a guitar in the lounge, and I look over my shoulder and it's there, and it's like there's that Chet Atkins piece that I wanted to do. Fuck it, I'll do it. So I'll sit there and just start playing, and the TV goes off, the pad comes out, and it's. And I say that to my students as well. It's like, you don't have to, like, when you're practicing or playing, you don't have to make a deal out of it. Just fucking sit the thing on your lap and just play whilst you're watching TV. Yeah. That's better than nothing. Yeah. If you can pick out a melody on the TV, like see if you can get something, just have it. But yeah, it's always there. It's like that monkey on your shoulder. Like, you haven't practiced enough. Have you done that? You're shit over altered chords. How's that?
Yeah.
What are you doing today? That's kind of the voice. What have you done today?
Yeah, I think it's like it's not a particularly pleasant way to live. I don't think, because it's very hard to, like, I can't do holidays. I really struggle with holidays.
When you get back, you can't play.
Well, it's not even that. It's the being on holiday thing. Like, I sit there and I go, right, okay, so I'm on a beach.
Yeah.
The world is passing me by. I have done nothing. Yeah. Right. So it's like, I will probably, like, die young of a stress-induced heart attack. But I think that like learning, like doing a course or something like that, is a good way to get rid of that feeling.
Yes. Yeah. So the other thing we'll talk about is I want to talk about reading. And I know if you've done your classical degree, your reading must be better than most. Is it all right?
On guitar?
Yeah.
Well, compared to what? Yeah, it's all right on guitar, I suppose.
Okay. So
your average guitarist is shit at reading, though, aren't they? So if I say I'm okay for a guitar, I can get by. Like, I don't think it's got anything to do with my degree. My mum started me on classical piano when I was 7, so I understood what the notes were. And then when I picked up guitar when I was about 12, but both my parents were musicians. They were not professionals, but they were musicians. So my dad played bass and guitar, and he used to put the Beatles songbook in front of me. Yeah. We used to go. So my parents were divorced, and I used to go over to him on a Friday night and stay till Saturday. And on Friday night, usually we'd have dinner, and then a lot of evenings he would put the Beatles songbook in front of me, and he would sing and play guitar, and I would play along. And he'd go, right, now read that, play the melody, play the chords. So it was like a weekly sight reading lesson, really, without me knowing it.
Yeah.
So it just kind of happened.
Okay. And why do you think that it's not regularly taught or properly taught reading on guitar? Aside from the fact that it's a bitch to read on, because once you get over it's a bitch to read on, we can be all. It's not
that hard. It's not rocket science, is it? I mean, if we can put a man on the moon, you can learn how to read on it. It's just people, like, you just got to do some practice. There's a system for it.
Yeah.
I'd say get beginners classical guitar music, Bach, flute transcriptions. The higher register.
Yeah.
Learn your positions.
Yeah.
Look, I've got when I do teaching, I've got a system of how I teach it, and it works. It works if you practice it every day. If you do 20 minutes a day, every day for the next 6 months. Sight reading is not a talent. There's nothing.
Yeah.
It's like learning a times table. Where the talent or musicality, whatever you want to call it, bit comes in is when you're interpreting a chart, how to make it sound good. That's different from sight reading.
Yeah.
And most guitar players, I think they're when they say sight reading, they're referring to the immediate mathematical process of not reading the notes. That is easy. You just have to do it. If your sight reading isn't good enough and you think you're practicing enough, no, it's not. You're not practicing enough. It's like learning the times table. There's no difference.
Yeah.
If you do it every day, you'll be good at it. It's the interpretation of the chart of whatever you're looking at is like a good example might be, say, a Brian May solo, right?
Mhm.
If you had an alien, like a sight reading guitar alien, come down from space who'd never heard Queen but could
Yeah.
read music on guitar.
Yeah.
If you put a Brian May solo transcription in front of him, he's going to read it, but it's not going to sound like Brian May because you can't necessarily represent
Yeah.
the spirit of Brian May on the written page. It's very difficult to write that kind of stuff down and have it come out sounding like you want it to sound. So it's the interpretation that makes it sound good.
Okay.
And so I see sight reading and chart interpretation as two very different things. Sight reading is easy, you just have to do some practice. Chart interpretation requires exposure to a lot of different styles and being able to sort of think yourself into character for all these different styles and play appropriately.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think reading is, I think comparing it to times tables is a great analogy because it's just a system of rote learning. Just sit down with the thing in front of you and do it until it starts to kind of make sense. But you mentioned practice a lot of times. What do you do practice-wise today?
Well, it kind of varies, to be honest. But at the moment, I'm just doing whatever my guy at Berkeley tells me to do.
Yeah.
Like a robot.
And in terms of like when you were, I don't know, in your late teens, early 20s?
When I first picked up the guitar, I bought a guitar magazine, and it was one of the American, I think it was like Guitar for the Practicing Musician, one of those American magazines. Okay. And it had in it this thing called the Steve Vai 12. It was when Steve Vai and Joe Satriani were like the new big thing.
Right.
So it was kind of, I guess, late 80s, early 90s, that kind of time. And it had this thing in it, because obviously there was no internet and there was no, like, the access to information was completely different than it is now. And it had a supplement called the Steve Vai 12-hour guitar workout. I split it into two, and I spent that first summer doing 6 hours a day, like sitting in my bedroom. So that was it, like a loser.
No, it's not a loser. And what about getting better? What's your take on your view of getting better, and what does it mean today versus what it meant 20 years ago?
Oh God, I don't know. I mean, it's such a define better.
Yeah.
Better than you were yesterday, I guess, is the basic goal. I mean, I still like if someone films something that I've done live and I listen to it, there's a 99% chance that I'll just go, "Oh God, you're useless," and I won't like what I'm hearing. You know, it's like, why can't you play with that bit of chord changes properly? Why are you relying on the same old bluesy rock licks?
Yeah.
So, getting better is it's a battle, isn't it? So you'd have to define it. And also, I think that social media is really difficult for that because it's a constant. What's the saying that comparison is the thief of joy?
Yeah.
Like every time you open your phone, it's like, oh, there's another 12-year-old that can play like Yngwie Malmsteen. Great.
Great. Yeah. But also the you'll scroll once and there'll be a 12-year-old kid, going through some Yngwie piece. Then you scroll again and there's some Brent Mason doing some fucking country licks that you're just like, what the fuck is he doing? And then you scroll again, there's some jazz lines. You scroll again, there's some bluegrass. And it's like, well, I just need to practice all of this shit. And
yeah, absolutely.
I think you just end up losing any kind of focus, and you just end up trying to get a little bit of everything, and you end up with nothing.
I 100% agree. I totally agree. That's why I did the Berkeley thing, because I just needed to narrow my focus. I did the Berkeley thing, and I took Instagram off my phone. Because, well, that's a different subject, but I just don't like it. It's still, my account still exists currently. Yeah. Well, maybe not for long, but it still exists, but I don't have it on my phone. Because it's a distraction. And for the reasons that you've just outlined, really, it's just like you open it, it's like being kicked in the face. With either stuff that you can't do, or you wish you could do, or somebody else's opinions on something. And it's just, I find it, if you like it, then great. I'm just saying that I find it difficult.
It is. I mean, it's not easy, and I think, I don't know, it certainly is essential for people who are trying to look for work, or trying to use it as a platform to get work. Or I know a lot of people now use their Instagram as a CV. They won't send a CV or EPK. They say, here's my Instagram, and they'll just cherry pick their favorite little clips that they've done, and that's it. That's all they use it for.
Yeah, it concerns me. Like if I was considering deleting mine, it concerns me that it is an online CV, and maybe I don't know whether I need it, but I don't know. It's difficult to tell. I'd like to delete it because it's this weird combination of ego and marketing, and I find it, it brings out the things in me that I don't like.
Yeah,
I just find it a bit icky.
Yeah, I know.
Thing, I guess.
I know. My sister's two of my sisters have really successful accounts. One's a hairdresser, and one
Right.
is she's a graphic designer artist.
Yeah.
And they're always, not always, but they're saying you should do this, because you obviously play really well, and you could
Yeah.
easily do what we do. And I was like, yeah, but you're uploading like daily, and it's
a
like
lot of time.
it's like strategic posts that have been almost manipulated to get people to do what you want them to do. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I have no interest in setting my phone up, coming up with a lick that I think the algorithm is going to push and people are going to click. And if it fails, I feel like a failure. But if it succeeds, I might get
a brief dopamine hit.
What will I get? Will I get a gig out of it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
You get a gold star.
I get an Instagram. I win the internet for the day.
You win the internet. I think some people that do it well. Like, I like Tim Pearce. I like people. I think it's. It's. Okay, so here's what it is for me. Like, I think it's that there is a lack of authenticity in a lot of it. I'm not holding myself up as some great moral force at all. That's not what I'm saying at all. And I think if you like it, then great. But I think there is a real lack of authenticity, which I find unappealing. Mm-hmm. For Tim Pearce, for example, he's done it. He's the real deal, right? Yeah. So I like watching him. Yeah. And he plays great, and his gear's really interesting, and he seems like a nice guy. So, but then you get there's other people. I'm not going to pick on anyone in particular, but you just think,
go on, pick on someone. Someone.
No, I'm not going to do that. I would like to, but I'm not going to do it because I'll regret it. I'll regret it after. Okay. After we finish. But like, you just think, well, you're saying all these things, but I don't know if it's true. So I get it. Because you have to, it is a business and there is marketing, but I don't know, I struggle with it, to be honest. And I think maybe a lot of people of our relative generation do struggle with it, I think, because, I don't know, it just makes you feel like a bit of a knob, doesn't it? Going,
I know, it's like, well, who really cares about my opinion on any subject? I mean, the only person whose opinion I really value is my own, and maybe my wife's. That's probably about it. Maybe if I'm taking lessons from someone.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I didn't struggle. Like you very kindly asked me to do this. My first thought is, why?
But you know what?
And I don't mean that at you. I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just like, I mean, maybe there's if you're around for long enough in the music business, maybe you've got something of use to say to somebody young. That's the only reason I can think.
Yeah.
But it's like.
So for me, this is more like a project of who do I want to talk to, who, I look up to and respect. I've got no real aspirations for this being the next Joe Rogan thing, and there might come a time I'll do like 100 episodes. I'm like, I think I'm done, and I'll just put it to bed, and I'll just it will be an archived thing that I can say, no, I did this for however long, and I spoke to these fucking incredible people, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
If it does generate some cash, that'd be good. Then I've then got to take this to another level where I've got to this all has to change. I have to get a studio, a backdrop, and it's like, I don't want to do that.
It looks pretty cool, no? Got books. It makes you look like a well-read gentleman.
I'm just happy sitting in a room with my guitars and shit and just talking music. That's all I'm interested in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I think I love watching other people on podcasts. I absolutely love it. Like you mentioned, you did John Gregson before. I'm a big fan of John Gregson, not just as a guitar player, but as a person. I think he's such great company. I love talking to him. He makes me smile. So I will go and watch that afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not today, but I will watch it. And also you had Steve Allsworth on, who I've never met and he doesn't know me, but I've watched his YouTube lessons. I copped some stuff with some Larry Carlton triadic stuff, which he had on the internet. I downloaded it all last week.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah.
So I love watching them.
Yeah.
I do. I enjoy it as a concept. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it was the book that I read that just kind of inspired me. And how do people learn? How do they get better? And what drives people to continue to do? Because and I say this to all of my students, particularly new students, as like, your hands aren't designed to do what we're asking them to do. They're designed to hold and grip and throw. That's it. Now you got to get like a fucking C chord to a D chord. They're not meant to do that. So
that's interesting. Yeah.
It's a real graft to get your hands to play, and you've got to really practice, drill it, and just keep doing it. And you must fucking love it because it hurts as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it does. I mean, it's an interesting thing to love as well. And everyone has their own. I remember my first guitar teacher was a bloke called Hugh Turner, who's a really great, vibey guitar player. He was in Reading. I grew up just outside of Reading.
Okay. Whereabouts?
Well, I sort of, like I said, my parents got divorced, so I moved in a couple of places. I was in Early, a tiny little place called Early, and then Pangbourne, and sort of I went to school in Henley-on-Thames, sort of around that kind of area.
All right. So I grew up in Blackwater.
I don't know where that is, sorry. Right, you were down. Right,
So
there used to be a great guitar shop down there, like a million years ago. You near Fleet? It was near Fleet, wasn't it? There was a because it's called Kingfisher Music.
Kingfisher Music, yes. I got my. Where's my telly? Is it gone? No, it's in a case somewhere. But yeah, I got this beautiful telly. It was the I think it was the Super Telly with the humbucker with the humbucker switch.
Right. Okay.
It was in there second hand, and I think I got a loan out and snapped it up and. Yeah, lovely. Yeah,
guitars.
I know that shop's that's gone. That shop, Kingfisher's gone.
I'm sure it has. Yeah. I mean, it's all been overtaken by various the chains or the internet. That's kind of stuff. Yeah. I'm hovering over a Pete Thorne guitar at the moment. I just keep looking at them, going, "That looks good."
Yeah, I got. Anyway, I can't remember where we were. What do you think? What's not being taught that really should?
Well, I'm sure that most things are being taught somewhere.
Yeah. Like on the mainstream, we're not seeing a lot of X.
That's a really good question. Well, I would like to see guitar players. I mean, it's a difficult one because, like, my instinct is if you do a university course, there should be an academic aspect to it. Maybe this sounds a bit sort of old-fashioned. I don't know, but like you should have a theoretical background. I'm not saying that to be a great guitar player, you need all this stuff. But if you're going to do a university course, I think in order to call it a degree, I think that you need a certain amount of theory. And that's just my instinct. I'm not a specialist in education or whatever, but I feel that to make something valid, you can't just be a course in social media presentation and, what trainers to wear and how to get a pop gig. I think you need something to back that up.
Yeah.
But that's just an opinion. Like I'm aware that education is also a business these days. So whether or not that actually happens I don't know whether it makes economic sense. But I think that guitar players should have a theoretical background, to be honest, because a lot of them they can sound amazing. It's a really weird instrument because they can sound incredible, but they've got no idea what notes they're playing for a start. Like half of them, which is really weird. Like, but then also you get people like I remember reading an interview years ago with Nuno Bettencourt, who's an obviously unbelievable guitar player, but he was like he literally knows nothing about theory. I might have got this wrong, but I think
godlike
from my memory. Well, yeah. So does it even matter? But I think in terms of education, if you're going to do it in a university environment, you need to know this shit, and I think it's incumbent upon the universities to put that into the curriculum, but they don't always want to because then they don't get the results. They don't get the pass rates that they want, which means they don't look good.
Yeah.
So it's a murky world.
It is. I mean, I think if you were to learn today, like if I was to learn today with the same enthusiasm that I had when I did it back in the 90s, the amount of information that's available is just endless. And I think the progression from you can't play to fucking hell, we can play okay, is just shortening and shortening.
It's unbelievable.
Because you see people that have been playing for 2 or 3 years and like, fuck, you're already doing that. That fucking took me years to do.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, that not knowing what's going on underneath is just as important. Like, okay, so if you've learnt this line over a B minor chord, now do it in G minor. Can you do it in G minor? Can you transpose that? I don't know. I don't know if...
Yeah. Well, I think it's certainly... Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say that the lessons that you see on YouTube, it's just, here's how to play the thing. Go away and play the thing. But then now you can't... It's just a surface level...
Yes, there is an element of that. The problem for me, it comes if you want to. That's great if you want to do it as a hobby, have a good time. But if you want to do it for a living, like for example, most of the people that I have to communicate with and that communicate with me at work are not guitar players. Yeah. They are MDs, possibly a piano player, or producers or whoever it is, and they're like, "Yeah, okay, right. See that thing that you just did? do it in a different key? Or can you put it up the octave, or put it up a third, or something like that? You know, and if you don't know all that stuff, you're immediately never coming back.
Yeah.
If you just go, I don't know how to do that. So
What
I don't know
frets
what you're
that?
talking about. Yeah, exactly. Can I have that in tab? You know, I mean, so that kind of like the little guitar-y world of how we learn things is not very useful in the world of work, in my experience.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I also want to ask you, why are guitar pads so bad? Or why are some of them so bad? Because I remember you doing an Instagram post about guitar dots. You'd got a pad for a session. It's like, that's not how you play something on guitar. Can't play that.
Was I having a moan?
A little bit, yeah.
Moan. Oh God, sorry. Well, I think guitar's a funny thing, isn't it? Because it's like, unless you play it, it's very difficult to write for it.
Yeah.
There's only a few people that I've come across who don't play guitar who are really good at writing for it. Like, although he does, I'll name a couple of people, like Dave Arch, although he does play a bit of guitar. He's the MD of the Strictly Come Dancing band. I've done loads of things for him over the years with sessions and things.
Okay.
He's incredible. If you see it there, you know it's right. So you just play it, and that's good. And there's very few people like that. There's a few other, I think arrangers, Rob Eklund, Chris Egan, Steve Sidwell. Apologies if I've left anyone out, but who are good at writing the guitar. But the other end of the spectrum is you admit that and you go, can I just give you a chord sheet and can you play something good? Which is equally acceptable. That's great. Because I can't write for. I had to ND a project about 18 months ago, and Neil Wilkinson played drums, and I said to Neil, I was like, look, do you want me to write a drum chart, or should I just give you a lead chart? And he was like, just give me the lead chart. So, why are they so bad? It's difficult to write for,
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a funny instrument, isn't it?
Yeah. When I did Grease, it was Hopelessly Devoted. When I got the chart for it, I was like, we don't play like that. I was like, do you want me to play what's written, or can I just play the chords? Just play the chords across the top. I was looking at it. I was like, who the fuck would write that? That must be a left-hand piano.
Well, it's usually right-hand piano, isn't it?
Or right-hand piano, yeah.
Yeah, that's what usually happens.
Yeah.
Or both, and they'll go, right, okay, okay, there we go. There's your chord.
Yeah.
Write it down, play it. And it's like, mate, you just played that with 10 fingers like that. Okay.
I've got this, 4, maybe right? 5.
Yeah, exactly. So, but to be honest, if someone says to me, if I'm working with someone, they say, look, I'm not a guitar player. If you need to alter it, alter it. I'm like, totally cool. That's my job. I'll try and make it happen. It's honest, totally cool.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really. It's not something that really bothers me. I've kind of got used to it, to be honest. But I guess the skill is navigating that situation. Say if you're in a studio and someone's written something, you look at it and you go, I can't play that. So how do you broach that subject without being rude? Because no one wants to do that. It's not nice personally, and it's certainly not good for business. So it's sort of how you say, do you mind if I try something a little bit more guitar-y or something? Like you have to find your way around. You have to find a nice way of doing that in that situation. That's part of the skill.
Yeah, I think it was John Gregson that said that. He said, look, if people have hired you as a guitar player, then they expect you to do a guitar player thing. So they might give you a chart, but it'd be like, well, okay, so let's just use this as like a skeleton, and I'll do guitar stuff over the top of it that fits.
Yeah, I think most people are like that these days.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great way of looking at it, and it kind of takes a little bit of pressure off people. I think on both sides, people that are writing and people that have to come in and play it. Yeah,
absolutely. I think as long as everyone's honest about what they want, then it's fine.
Yeah.
The difficult situation occurs when you get, and it doesn't happen very often. It hasn't happened to me in ages. But if you get somebody who's insistent on you playing something which is not possible, then that's a bit tricky. If they've gone piano player, D, I want this voicing, and they put it in front of you, and then you're start reading your way through it, and they're looking at you like, why are you not playing it? Then it's like, that's a bit difficult situation to navigate. It doesn't happen that often. People just want their music to sound good.
Yeah. And I think on that note, that's a great place to leave it there.
Oh, I could keep going. I like it.
I know our kids will be coming back from school soon, and
yes, fair enough.
I've got a flooring company that has to call me because they've made a huge fuck up, and I'm not looking forward to it. But yeah, it was really lovely to chat with you. I know we've been trying to get this for the last year or so.
I know. Sorry, it's me being awkward.
It's people's schedules and stuff, and then But it was
That was
really,
fun. Thank
really,
you.
really lovely to chat. And thank you for your time.
Yeah, you too, man.
All
Yeah.
right.
All right.
Thank you.
So when does this go onto the